little giants. I'm kind of running out of different phrases to say, so that's about all I had. But I hope that you've enjoyed the excitement of this week's college football. But we're back at it again a little bit earlier than usual. And as usual, we are also missing someone. We're missing Tyler Atwood. But we've got Wes back on the phones this week. So, and he said he's got hot takes. So, without further ado,
I have one hot take.
Oh,
only one.
Just the one.
Just the one.
That, and then they don't hang up, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess we're pushing back our top four because, as Wes said, we don't give a shit about about the top four yet. So, if that's why you're tuned in, well, you can just go on and clock out like Vontae Davis. So, without further ado, I'm 1/4 of today's hosting crew, Ryan Nixon, along with
Savannah.
Robbie.
And I'm Wes.
Sadly. All right.
Can't help that, Sam.
Alright, so just bleep out the area where I said updated top four, and let's just go right into the craziness that was week 4. Saw a lot of sadness, especially to me, as my horned toads lost to the UT, which makes one UT that won this week.
It's okay. I'm switching my fandom to just purely Old Dominion. You know, I was their head coach for a while in NCAA.
That's what made me originally start liking Miami.
So I'm a Monarch.
Hey, I wear my Monarchs on Mondays.
Oh my god.
Your dad's shoes.
Yeah. So Savannah, how much you talked about? Dude, you didn't work because you never work. What?
I work more than you.
What happened? What's your thoughts on the experience on week 4?
On the experience of week 4, it was just a crazy week. Lots of weird upsets and stuff. My favorite play, was it this week? When North Texas did the fake.
That was last week.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was last week.
Damn, never mind.
She's not drunk, I swear. It's only
not.
We're recording this at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so
You're allowed to be drunk at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah,
Just-
it is 5 o'clock here.
Oh.
Actually,
There's a song that's called "It's 5 o'clock somewhere." That's literally about getting drunk.
At 5
Yeah, I've
o'clock.
never heard
At
that.
5 o'clock.
hold on.
Roasted.
Maybe I should look this up on SoundCloud. Is it a SoundCloud rapper?
Yeah, let me put y'all in some new heat.
It's by Lil Jackson and Lil Buffett. No, I'm sorry. Lil Buffet.
Yeah.
Alright, so before we get into I'll let Robbie talk about UT football in a second. Just because he spent his hard-earned cash to go get an ass whooping. Alright, let's be real.
Look,
Oh no.
it was a good trip, you know. I got off work at 10. Started drinking about noon. Kickoff wasn't until 7. You know, I had a real good buzz going on, and then the game started. And after the first quarter, it was not a good time anymore.
So is it safe to say there was no hangover because, I mean, your vibe was just dead? Or did you just get even more plastered after the fact?
I sobered up while I was awake, which I don't know if y'all have ever experienced that. It's probably the worst feeling ever.
I have like zero willpower to stay awake once I get drunk. Like I immediately want to lay down and go to sleep.
Well, once you start drinking at 12 in the afternoon, it's like I can't just go to sleep.
The only time I drink at 12 in the afternoon is on vacation. I can sleep whenever the hell I want to on vacation.
Yeah, we all went to vacation with Wes and his boo, and Savannah went to sleep at like 12, like noon, and then proceeds to get mad at us and be like, "Why didn't you wake me up?" It's like, "Oh, I tried, but you did not feel like waking up."
That's what happens when you start drinking at like 10 a.m. So, don't advise that.
All right.
It was a fruity drink. It doesn't count.
All right. Well, let's get back on.
Anyway.
Let's get back on the road. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but Oklahoma narrowly escaped upset, winning 28-21 over Army in a game that went to overtime. And Army actually had more yards than Oklahoma in that game. Do y'all think that this is a result of Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley respecting the troops, or do you think this was just a very bad game by them?
Absolutely, 100%. If there's anybody that respects the troops, it's people that are in Oklahoma the majority of the time.
Yes.
So, I mean, look, I don't know how Army is consistently that bad. Like, you have to respect the troops, legally speaking. So, yeah, I don't know how they don't win every game, honestly, but...
Yeah, like, everyone wants to make a big deal about Kaepernick kneeling before the game. But, I mean, people are literally out there hitting troops hard, like, possibly breaking their bones for 60
Honestly,
minutes of the game, okay? Like, why don't we boycott their teams?
Kind of disrespectful, honestly, of Oklahoma to tease the troops like that to make them think they were going to win and then actually beat them. Like, I don't know who they think they are, but
I'm done with college football now. Canceled.
yeah. Well, that's like if you play NCAA and you do a dynasty, like, just because the computer is just that, like, there's no logic involved. Like, Navy and Army both become like powerhouses because of the simulation.
It's because they run the damn triple option.
Yes. And
No, it's because all the recruits
overpowered.
want to go there. All the recruits want to protect their country, like we all should, okay?
Just think of how good of a troop you would be if you played defense for Army's college football game. Imagine if you're defending the goal line like you're going to defend the country. Holy. That's a lot of pressure, to be honest.
Oh, my. Okay. To any troops listening to this, thank you. But
feel free to email me with any and all complaints.
Yep.
I'll definitely read them.
I'll read them while standing for the anthem. All right.
Yeah. I'll be the heel, I think, for like troop relations on this show. Ryan will play the role of troop respecter, and I'll be the troop disrespecter, and you can send me angry emails and tweets.
Yeah, and then maybe eventually we'll have a Troopomania where we just go at it and go at each other with M16s and Barrett 50 cals, and who knows? I mean, I might just use my small loan of $1 million to chuck tons of cash at Wes. Okay. Let's switch topics, I guess. Speaking of another guy that respects the troops and his football players, or maybe the disrespect that is here, Clemson has just kind of announced that Kelly Bryant is not going to be the starter for the rest of the season. He might be playing a role. Do y'all think that was the right decision, bringing in a freshman, even though he was the number one recruit, to start over Kelly Bryant, who obviously had a ton of skill, but he's a senior? Y'all think that's like disrespectful, or you think it's just part of the game?
Wait, did you say Kelly Bryant's a senior?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's a senior. This is last year.
Kelly Bryant.
Yes.
No, he's not.
Dude, it's his senior year.
Hold on, guys, while I...
Look, this is Candid on the Pod. Me disrespecting Robbie. Dum, 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 dum.
Oh, I guess I thought he was like a junior.
I told you. Okay, so back to the question. You think it's ultimate disrespect, or you think that's just how life goes sometimes?
I think that it was the right move.
Okay, I guess we did not have much to talk about with this.
I feel like it was
Clemson
inevitable.
fans in Tennessee, eh?
Yeah,
Are y'all still talking about Tennessee?
no.
We're talking about Clemson. Savannah's not even listening. She's been on her phone the entire time.
I just found a video of some pigs jumping into a lake or something, and their legs. I don't know.
Oh.
Don't talk about the cops like that.
I'm about to say, classic liberal, just wanting to watch pigs drown. Oh my gosh.
They don't appreciate when you call them that.
Yeah.
The police.
Jeez.
Damn.
Bleep that one.
That is not where I expected the first bleep to come from.
Hell yeah.
Let's be real, we all feel like that.
Okay. I'll be the troop disrespecter, but Savannah is the first responders disrespecter.
Savannah's gonna be like held up hostage somewhere, and the cops gonna be like, "Oh,
Oh, no, we heard what you said.
Robbie, you have to find. You have two options, Robbie. You can either become the first responders respecter, or you could find a completely separate branch of public servant to hate just irrationally.
garbage disposal." Basically, we're not going to have any fans because we're just going at everybody.
Robbie's gonna buy a Blue Lives Matter shirt.
No, Robbie's gonna be like, man, motherfucker librarian, I don't give a What do they even do? Look at books?
I want to be the journalist disrespecter.
Oh.
Oh.
Even though we are kind of the media right now.
Technically. Not a very, how do I want to say
We're
this?
not very professional.
Not a very professional media.
Are we
Or reliable.
fake news?
I
Probably.
think we are fake news. Yeah, we're fake news.
Okay.
I want Trump to find our podcast and be like, very, very rude, very disrespectful, folks. They said, ask the cops. They really said it. Very bad.
But he might like it, like just because we're bold. I mean, we're not career podcasters. So
Look, folks,
As
I didn't agree
professional
with
as
everything
this
they
is.
said. I didn't agree with everything, but it was bold, okay? Don't we love people that are bold?
oh my gosh. Wes, I know it's supposed to be a little bit farther down on the thing, but I think now is the time for your hot take.
Okay, well, alright. So, basically, as I've been scouring Vols Twitter, which for the most part I've managed to avoid for the past 2 years, thankfully, I noticed that this isn't. It's kind of a hot take, but I've seen it said a couple of other times, and I don't know. Robbie might agree with me a little bit. So my main take is that I don't blame the players so much, or I'm sorry, I don't blame the coaching as much as I do the players. Like, I think Pruitt, for the most part, is blameless on this one, with the exception of maybe, the offensive coordinator needs to be a little bit more diverse in his play calling, because we're still doing that shit we used to do under Butch Jones, where it's like, run on first down, run on second down, and then try to pass on third and medium, and then it doesn't work. So, I don't know. That's my hot take, is because, when you have, 6 turnovers, and you're more or less equal to the other team in terms of yardage gain, passing yards, when you are better than them on third down, when you have the ball for more time, you have fewer penalties. In my mind, that shows me that, you just had a lot of turnovers, and, yeah, we had 6 of them, so that to me is on the players, not the coaches.
Well,
They can't get out there and throw the ball for you.
Jeez.
Exactly.
Butch recruited a bunch of pussies,
Oh, what?
basically.
Well, yeah, like that was kind of like I saw a lot of people, or not a lot, but I saw some people saying that. I mean, the reason that it looked like they just kind of gave up after a certain time is because they did.
They
like,
literally just quit. Because
yeah, and that's what was expected of them under Butch too.
That's like what I liked about Pruitt. Like he kicked that kid off the sidelines Saturday.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, like I think in the end, like it ended up being just kind of like a misunderstanding between Pruitt and the player. Like maybe some miscommunication there. But Pruitt, thought that he refused to go in the game.
Took some stones.
So he was like, okay, well, get the off my sideline.
Exactly.
When it turns out, I don't think he actually did refuse to go in, but I think it was just a miscommunication.
Yeah, I think I saw an article that he has been like, I guess not reinstated is the wrong word, but like he's back on the team now.
Yeah, Pruitt said that
whatever.
he came in his office like Sunday and came and talked to him about it. So,
but I mean, like, just going down the stat sheet. So, Garantano threw 7 completions on 18 attempts for 164 yards. Florida's quarterback Franks was 9 of 18 completions, or 9 completions on 18 attempts for 170 yards. So more or less the same. Our running backs had the exact same amount of carries, the exact same amount of touchdowns. They had 11 more yards, Scarlett did, than London. Like, same with our top receiver. Like, the stats were almost identical or better in favor of Tennessee. The big difference is the turnovers, and I'm sorry, but like the mentality of the players, and that's like I said, I think after what has it been 4 games under Pruitt, like that's just not enough to get all that old bad energy out, or bad players for that matter.
I think that if Pruitt can get the kind of guys that he wants, I definitely think that we'll be okay, because in 4 games in, I've seen a lot of improvement from the defense already. Like, they looked a lot better defensively Saturday than they did against West Virginia. And I know it's not like the same kind of offense, but still.
Yeah. I think we'll be okay, but as we were talking about earlier, like, definitely not this season. Like, we'll be lucky to beat 5 games this season.
It's definitely not going to be this season or next year.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Like, I think you got to give it at the very least, 3 years with this team.
Well,
at least 3.
Fulmer, as long as Fulmer's there, Pruitt will be there, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I have confidence in like Fulmer's judgment.
Unless after the 5 years that Pruitt's contract is, he just never improves the team or anything. Then he probably won't come back. But I think Pruitt will at least be there 5 years.
And here's the thing with Pruitt. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Every defense that he has coached, at least in his time as a defensive coordinator, has been a top defense in the country.
Yep.
Okay. Tennessee has shown historically that they can be really, really good with an excellent defense.
Yep.
And I'm not, you don't need the second coming of Peyton Manning or T. Martin to win the SEC East, which I think is the goal, as of right now. So, I have confidence, like, I think under Pruitt, we could win the SEC East. Again, it's just a matter of, like, getting the right guys, and, like you said, Robbie, getting rid of, like, all these, I won't say what you said, but, like, people that Butch recruited who are perhaps not up to snuff. And I'll leave it at that.
I mean, like, and I think some of it is just, like, some of the players are just flat out lazy.
Yeah.
Like, Kongbo has no reason to be as bad as he's been. Tuttle was one of the highest recruits we ever had, and he ain't done shit. Khalil McKenzie was the number 1 recruit in the country when he was there, and he was
He
horrible.
didn't even.
He was horrible.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't even get that much playing time under Butch freaking Jones. Is that right?
Well, he was hurt a lot the first 2 years he was there, and then last year, he rotated in a lot.
Hey, he's in the lead, okay? Y'all don't do.
What's hilarious about that is that he left Tennessee early because Pruitt wanted to try to move him to offensive line. And he did not want to move to offensive line. And then he got drafted in the 6th round by the Chiefs, and guess what they did? They moved him to f***ing offensive line.
Yeah.
That's how life be sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating because, like, as we were saying in the group message the other day, like, Butch Jones had so much, like, Tennessee as a whole really has had so much talent that has just been absolutely wasted on people like Dooley and Butch Jones and, like, Robbie, like what you were saying, I think it was kind of a hot take. Maybe you want to, like, elaborate on your Dooley theory?
Look, Dooley is a better football coach than Butch Jones.
I think I agree. Yeah.
And here's why I say that. In the 3 years that Derek Dooley was there, you know how many times he left Knox County to go visit a recruit? 0. Derek Dooley never left Knoxville and never visited a recruit himself. And his last year there, we averaged like 37 points a game. And he called the offensive plays a lot in the time that he was there.
And managed to bring like really good players who are, I mean, not like top of the league or anything, but who are a lot of them in the NFL right now.
Yep.
Tyler Bray, I mean, he's getting paid to hold a clipboard, but like he's in the freaking NFL at least.
Tyler Bray used to be my screensaver on my iPod. When the iPod Touch first came out. Those were the days.
I don't know. I think that I think it's going to be a rough year. Like, you might as well tamper down your expectations. Just bite the bullet, because it's not going to be good. So I think we need to adopt the Robbie Woodard strategy of finding whatever team you're currently playing as on your NCAA dynasty or whichever one was your previous, and just go for them, because Tennessee's not going to be worth a this year. Like, let's be honest.
Yes.
I've got my main fandom at Miami right now. Like, I've always been a Tennessee fan, only been a Miami fan for like 4 years, but Tennessee sucks.
Well, like,
yes.
Saturday
they're always going to be my favorite team. Like, I'll always cheer for Tennessee no matter what. But, like, you would be crazy to not find another team to at least watch this year,
You would have no enjoyment out of college football if the only team you liked was Tennessee.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, Saturday was, like, kind of the wake-up for me. Like, I'm not going back to Neyland Stadium for a while because it's not worth the money.
It's expensive still to go there.
Investment.
I mean, like, we could have easily beaten that Florida team Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the loudest I've ever been inside of Neyland Stadium. Like, 30 minutes before the kickoff, I could feel the stadium shaking where I was at in the upper deck. Like, it was that loud. And during the game, like, you couldn't hear yourself think for the first quarter. And then it was just like we could have easily won that game. Because Florida's not very good either. And our defense outplayed them.
Oh, yeah.
If Kentucky can beat Florida, Tennessee should beat Florida.
Exactly. And so, just going all that way and, like, the atmosphere being that good, even when Tennessee's still this bad, it was like that was just kind of the wake up for me that like it's just not worth spending this money anymore.
Right. I mean, and not only that, like, imagine like if Tennessee ever got back to even close to good. Like, I mean, Robbie, you remember like there was a year or so there with Butch Jones where we thought we were legitimately going to be a good football team, maybe even win the SEC East.
And about that, like those 2 seasons in 15 and 16, if we had a coach worth of shit, both seasons we should have been 11-1 in the regular season and playing Alabama a second time in Atlanta.
100%, yeah.
I mean, you have Josh Dobbs, drafted. Alvin Kamara, drafted. Jalen Hurd, who was the number 1 recruit in the state of Tennessee out of high school, who is now leading Baylor in receiving. He's probably, I mean, he's going to go to the NFL next year probably. You got Josh Malone, drafted. Derek Barnett, a first-round draft pick. Cam Sutton, drafted. I mean, the teams were loaded, and he went 8-4 2 years in a row.
Right.
In my opinion, he should have been fired after 16 because there's no reason for you to only win 8 games with those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Alvin Kamara barely even played, so like.
That's
imagine
still crazy to me that he barely played, and he's like a star in the
Alvin
NFL.
Kamara might be the best like overall running back in the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, like, I mean, Robbie, you're talking about like he should have been fired after 16 winning 8 games. Like, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all right now. I've had approximately like 1 glass of Coke and whiskey. Like, so this might be a hot take, but son, how the do you not realize that like Alvin Kamara is far better, than Jalen Hurd?
Yeah.
I mean, we could tell that when they were in college.
Yep.
It wasn't like it's not like Alvin Kamara got to the NFL and we were like, oh damn, he's actually pretty good.
What? Like,
I mean, he went to Alabama for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think what makes me like the most mad about those 8-4 seasons was after the second one, 9-4 after the 2 bowl wins. Butch Jones in a press conference said, well, these are the best 2 seasons we've had in probably 20 years here. Bitch, we won a national championship 20 years ago. We've won like 5 SEC East titles and like 2 SEC titles. Those were not the best 2 seasons we've had in 20 years. You're an idiot.
Exactly.
And that's why he's a intern at Alabama now.
I think that to me is the height of like Tennessee fans' shame. Like a guy that we trusted to get us not only to the SEC championship, but like legit, like there was, admittedly, like, it was kind of a reach even then, but like people were really talking about a national championship, like a high profile
at least like
bowl
going
game.
to the playoffs or
Going into the 2016 season, almost every media like outlet had us picked to win the East.
Yes.
Like hands down, and it not be closed. How do you beat Florida and Georgia in the same season and not win the East?
Yeah.
You lose to South Carolina and Vanderbilt. That's how you do it.
I just don't get that.
So but the height of that to me is like a season when you have those kind of expectations, and rightfully so, given the players and the talent you have, and the amount of time you've been there, and your head coach ends up as a quality control assistant.
No.
Whatever.
He is literally an intern. Nick Saban called him an intern. He makes $30,000 a year right now, Wes. I'm not bullshit. He makes $30,000.
I will make more than that as a teacher, for reference.
Yes.
Not much more than that, but I will make more than that.
My blood pressure's up now. Why are we talking about Butch Jones?
It makes no sense. Like, it is only the Tennessee Volunteers could disappoint at that level. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Like, whatever. I need to get off the topic.
And like, okay, so if Butch doesn't underachieve in 15 and 16, he'd probably still be our head coach right now because, if he wins 10 or 11 ball games and 15 or 16, they'll give him a pass, that 1 year. Okay, you lost a lot of people to the draft, you've got to rebuild.
Right.
But no,
exactly.
he went 8-4 with a stacked roster.
All right, guys. Let's end the anger with slightly more anger. All right, so I just looked it up, and as I'm sure we all know, Kentucky is having basically a dream season. But their coach, Mark Stoops, was hired in November of 2012. Butch Jones replaced Derek Dooley in December of 2012. That just shows, Kentucky
made a better hire.
Kentucky made a way better hire
than the University of Tennessee. And I hate to keep going back to Clay Travis, but you're the University of Tennessee. You're one of the most profitable football programs in the country. Go hire a helicopter dick coach that is going to win. Stop going after these coordinators. Or Butch Jones, who was the coach at Central Michigan.
Yeah. Back up a truck with just untold fortunes of donor money and alumni money to I don't care, whoever will take, whomever amongst us will take the job.
And the last coaching search, how was your first guy, Greg Schiano?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that...
Well, the first guy was Dan Mullen, wasn't it?
No, it was Greg Schiano. They never even contacted Dan Mullen about the job.
Oh.
How do you go from Greg Schiano to then going to Mike Gundy, who should have been the first call, and then you go to Dave Doran and whoever the else, and then Mike Leach, when Gundy and Leach should have been the first two.
Absolutely.
If you're going to go for them, swing big at them first.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have gotten past Mike Leach if you do it that way, because he was ready to sign the contract when they canned Curry.
And Mike Leach, I think, would have a good chance at being really well in the SEC because air raid offense.
He runs a system that's not run in the SEC.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
why, that's a lot of the times whenever you see, I get the SEC runs, big style defense. But a lot of the times, whenever you do see those upsets, it's because people run systems that are not normal to the SEC.
And, Gundy runs the air raid also.
Yeah.
So.
And, can you imagine, Gundy does well at Oklahoma State, which is kind of like TCU.
Mike Leach
never really get the recruits.
Mike Leach has done well at Texas Tech and
Washington State.
Okay, two things here. One, Robbie, can you imagine as a Tennessee fan how fun it would be to watch Mike Leach's offense at Tennessee?
It would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be dude, oh my God, that would be legitimately fun to watch. I would pay to watch that before I would pay to watch this stupid run between the tackles, two downs, and then pass on third and medium, and then punt every single offensive drive. It's exhausting.
It's hard for me to believe that if you hire Gundy or Leach, if you can just you hire them and say, okay, you go hire your people, but we're going to hire your defensive coordinator to make sure he knows what he's doing. If you give them a defense and they're going to put up 40 points a game, we're going to win some ball games.
Exactly. And okay, and the other thing, can we just clip in the clip of Mike Leach talking about weddings at the end of this episode? Because that is an all-time.
We're already at 15.
We haven't even got to the picks yet.
Yeah.
Okay, but dude is hilarious.
It's have you seen did you see the press conference he had last year before the bowl game where they're interviewing him and the head coach for whoever he was. I don't even remember who they played. And they're talking to the other head coach. And Mike Leach is just sitting over there, not paying him any attention, and he has a cup of coffee, and he's just sitting there for 5 minutes, blowing into the cup of coffee to cool it down, just completely oblivious to everything going on around him.
I want that guy as your head coach. I'd take him over Pruitt. Like, if you would have given me the option at the beginning of the season, 100%. I mean, I love, like, don't get me wrong, like, Pruitt is a hell of a, I think he'll be a good head coach. Maybe not great, but a good head coach. But Mike Leach, I mean, that shit would just be fun. Like, I don't even care about the results. Like, give me Mike Leach.
It would be fun to watch. His post-game press conferences would be great.
Yes.
I mean,
that's really all we care about here is the press conferences.
It's like, okay, not to get political, but it's like a Trump presidency, okay? Sure, you might not agree with everything that's going on, and it might be horrific at times, but at least it's funny. It's not like a George W. Bush thing, like, you know, like, at least it's funny. Like, God, it's just with, like, Pruitt is like George H.W. Bush. He's not fun. Like, the results are shit. I hate everything that's happening. You know? But with Mike Leach, hey, at least he's a doofus that will, like, shit his pants and then be like, no, I didn't shit my pants, folks. It was a new cologne. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Oh.
Okay, let's just get to the picks.
Look, y'all.
And also, to circle back to Kentucky, I just want to remind everybody, they're currently first in the SEC East.
Well, tied with Georgia.
They're tied with Georgia, but yeah, they're first.
But they're in the driver's seat for second. Like, let's be real. I mean, and I want to throw this stat out there too. Right now, Georgia's obviously undefeated. Kentucky, Syracuse, and what was that other team? Duke are all undefeated in college football right now in week 5. So, I mean, that's just wild to me that, like, historic basketball schools that, like, no one ever even considers a threat in football are undefeated.
Is there any chance that, like, even like an outside chance that any of these kind of like random teams get into the Final Four for the playoffs? I mean, like, why not? You know,
I've got no idea. I'm looking at.
I'm still all for like an 8-team playoff.
I think the 4-team is almost good enough.
I don't think so, because Ryan, you should know better than anybody that TCU got cheated out a couple years ago.
But that adds to the drama.
But had you had an 8-team playoff, they would have been playing for it. They could have won the national championship that year with how they played in their bowl game.
Who?
TCU.
Oh yeah, they
We're
should.
talking about having more than a 4-team playoff.
Here's what
because most of the time there's more good teams than 4 teams that could play for the national championship.
Here's what I think they need to do. They need to expand it to 16. Shorten the season by like 1 or 2 games, and then every conference champion is automatically in, and then you get 6 at larges, and then you can
even the trash conferences,
and then you can seed them accordingly to like how good they actually are.
So you're throwing the Coosa in there?
Give every group of conference champion.
I want to see MTSU playing in the national championship.
I mean that's how college basketball does it.
Yeah.
Oh my!
And that would be a lot more football for us, and that's what we're here for.
All 10 conference champions, automatic bid, 6 at larges, and then you can seed them accordingly, like the NCAA tournament in basketball.
That would be really fun. I like that idea.
I would agree with you, but you know, Branham does also support that, and I don't know if I can do that.
I might have to backtrack now.
This is just a big middle finger to Branham.
Yep.
All right, so Savannah, you said your reasoning was more college football, and that's something we can all get behind.
Hell yeah!
How about let's actually start talking about the college football for the week?
Talking about college
for this
football.
week, okay?
This is just hot takes. Okay, so if you're
let's
still
get to the picks.
We're making actual picks now.
Savannah, you're going to have to write the time card down like you did last week, because that was a good idea.
That's a good idea.
I don't remember. What are you talking about?
You tweeted
where you tweeted out all the.
Oh yeah, yep.
All right. So what's the first game, Savannah?
All right. At first we have North Carolina at number 16 Miami.
This is super fast pick for me. Miami starting a new quarterback, supposedly, but I think they should breeze through here.
Yeah, take Rozier out of there. We about to ball. So that's all I'm gonna say about it.
As much as I don't like Miami, they're gonna win. North Carolina is probably not very good.
And West.
Yeah, I want to pick the upset, but I think I'm gonna go with Miami.
Hell yeah, brother.
Boo.
By the way, hey, I just want to. How am I doing on the percentage of ones I've gotten right?
I'll add it all up.
We'll figure it
I've
out.
got all the papers. I'll add it all up.
Okay, we gotta have an end of season. Whoever won.
Who
You know what
has
I'm saying?
At least percentage wise, because we've had some people not here each week, but we'll do percentage wise.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That shade I just threw at Wes. All right.
And Atwood, he hasn't been here 3 weeks.
Oh, he was here a
Was he
couple
3
weeks
weeks
ago.
I've been here every pod.
All right, let's get through these picks fast because we went over on the.
Y'all got me and West started on UT. It's your fault.
If there's an over under on the pod, we've definitely hit the over. Okay. Now we've
Ryan,
got.
here's the
gosh.
deal. I've been suppressing my feelings about UT football for about a year or two now. Like I didn't watch. I don't think any of last season. I've had 2 years worth of pent up emotions about this, just waiting to come out. Man, you really set me off.
I'm literally not gonna watch a game until Charlotte. Like there's no sense in me watching the next 5 weeks because I know the result. So I'm not gonna watch another game until they play Charlotte, and then I'm not gonna watch. And then I'm not gonna watch the rest of the season.
I cannot wait until we beat Charlotte, fucking 12-10 or some bullshit. Just barely scrape by, and then
Yes.
it's gonna be great. Hell world, baby. Hell world.
You, Pete Carroll. This is all your fault.
Hey, speaking of Pete Carroll, our next game
USC.
is the USC Trojans
Arizona
at
Wildcats.
the Arizona Wildcats. I know a couple of weeks ago I said bear down. I don't even got any jokes this week. Bear down. No, that's what their phrase is. Even though they're the Wildcats,
That's stupid.
that's what their phrase is. Bear down.
Why?
That's dumb.
I don't know. It's kind of like the War Eagle thing. It's just kind of their phrase, even though they're technically the Tigers. But
Stupid.
That's
Arizona,
kind of weird.
who you got, Savannah?
I'm gonna pick USC because I picked them every time so far, and I just feel like being consistent with my picks.
Well, you're 2-2 on the year.
I was about
so.
to say, listen, they're gonna have a winning season, so I'll get the majority of them right.
Oh my. Okay, Robbie.
Not so bad.
I'm gonna take. Hold on. I should have researched.
He's
this
gonna
a little
take.
bit.
All right, Wes.
No
I'm gonna
sense.
take Arizona.
All right.
I think this might be a hot take, but I think that I think Arizona is going to whip it out on USC and dick them down.
Okay.
All right.
So 3v1.
Bear down? More like. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna say it twice. I'm sorry.
Wasn't Arizona the team that they were playing last year when Ryan just made that really graphic one?
I don't remember.
I think so.
Now that we're on Apple Podcasts, we could go back and look eventually. Shout out Apple. And hopefully down the road, Spotify and iHeartRadio.
What?
I don't know where the podcasts are for that, so good luck. Alright, so we've just got done talking about a school from Tennessee getting wrecked by a school from Florida.
It's gonna happen this week too.
Vice versa this week.
Nope.
True
You're
Blue
wrong.
over FAU. We are Lane Kiffin's quote rat poison. It's over for him. All right.
Wrong.
Lane Kiffin, you are canceled, my friend. Canceled.
So I'm looking at this Daily News Journal article, and it says who has the edge on each one. Offense is obviously FAU has the edge.
Facts.
Defense, it says, is even. But MTSU has the edge on special teams.
You
So
better
I'm
hope
going True Blue for the win.
I'm obviously going to pick MTSU because it's my school. Even though I like you, Lane Kiffin, but I think we should just be friends. I gotta go with MT here.
You better just be friends.
I think we all know who I'm picking. I'm a Kiffin stan.
Oh my.
FAU big.
He wants to be
Okay,
more
look.
than friends, Kiffin. Hit his line.
Okay. Okay, you have Cardi B stan Twitter. You have Nicki stan Twitter. You have Eminem stan Twitter. Robbie, you're gonna have to create Kiffin stan Twitter.
I'm about it.
You're
I
the
am
first
about it.
member. And this week, I'm gonna join you on Kiffin stan Twitter. I'm gonna be a Raider traitor.
Yes.
Garbage.
I'm going. It's for this reason only. Okay, I'm looking at this DNJ article just like you are, Ryan. I get to this section and it says MTSU punter Matt Bonadise is the difference here. I don't know this guy. I've never seen this guy on campus. Who is he? What does he stand for? I don't know. Okay. Here's the thing. I know Lane Kiffin. He's the guy that looks like Tosh. Okay. And folks, don't we love Tosh? He's hilarious. So I'm gonna go with FAU on this one, guys.
FAU's covering the spread big time this week.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
Matt Bonadise.
Bonadise nuts.
Oh my god. Did not see that coming. That's what she said. Anyways, let's there's only one good school in Florida and we all know it. University of Central Florida is hosting Pitt in the armpit of the country, Florida, where everything crazy happens. My first pick of Pitt did not go good, but I said earlier in the year they're always due for one upset, and I think this is the perfect timing because Central Florida has won, I want to think, 18 games in a row? 17 games in a row. So
It's gonna be 8.
they're riding high right now. And Pitt, Power 5, has no group of 5 love, alright? 13's going down. That's an unlucky number.
That, first of all, that was my soccer number. So, tally for UCF for me. I'm gonna have to go with the reigning national champions. But listen, they have those rings for a reason, folks. So they're gonna beat Pitt. Just can't take down a team that good.
Robbie, who you got?
I got UCF.
No.
They're averaging 50 points a game.
On the
Hard.
dot.
On the dot.
Yeah, but they've played the likes of freaking UConn, South Carolina State, and FAU. All right, that's
Who's
trash.
Pitt played?
Georgia
UNC's
Tech.
ass. They got beat by 45 against Penn State. Yeah.
Okay.
UCF all day.
Wes, who you got?
Okay. Y'all know this is a tough one for me. Okay. I used to love my boy, James the Terminator John Connor. Okay. As much as I want to pick Pitt, I just don't see it happening. I'm going to go with the reigning national champions, UCF,
Hell yeah.
all the way. Damn it.
What?
Wes, I think you're drunk.
No, I don't like UCF. I could be wrong, and I could be proven wrong. Like, when they play, they might blow them out. But I don't think that UCF is actually that good. Like, y'all were saying, like, they haven't really played too many, like, great teams. They did play FAU, you know, podcast, friend of the pod, FAU. And they also beat Auburn, but, like, barely.
Robbie said he was texting Lane after the game and said that they got bribed to throw the game, so that's why they lost.
Can confirm. Breaking news, folks.
Just as a result of, like, how they've performed so far, I am going to have to go with UCF. Final pick.
All right, on to the next one. This is definitely going to be one of those games. If you go to the bathroom, you could miss about 5 touchdowns. All right, we got number 12 West Virginia at number 25 Texas Tech University.
I don't even have that one marked down.
I've got by the stats. I mean, Tech is averaging 52 points a game, while West Virginia is averaging 42.3.
Where's that game being played at?
At one of the hardest atmospheres in the Big 12, Texas Tech. And for that reason, I'm taking the boys in red, the Raiders. Who you got, Savannah?
Well, I didn't have this game wrote down, so I'm a little bit out of the loop here. Let me look at these stats for a second.
All right, Robbie, who you got?
Who they played?
I'm gonna go with West Virginia, just because I think
Hell no.
their defense is sneakily good. I'm not saying that it's great, but I think it's gonna be a little bit better than Texas Tech's, which isn't saying a lot. This is gonna be what's the over in this game?
I don't know. It's not showing.
Well, whatever it is, I'm going to take the over. But I'm going to take West Virginia. That's my pick.
All
I think
right.
I'm going to also hop on the West Virginia train here.
Oh, my God.
Texas Tech, just because they lost on their bowl game. Who did they lose it to again? USF. That's just embarrassing. You don't turn around from that just immediately. So
It was a bowl. Auburn lost to Central Florida last year. Get the heck out.
Auburn still
is,
kind
I
of
was going to
sucks.
say, is Auburn balling out this season?
All right, guys. Well, Utah beat Alabama in 2008. Are we roasting Utah? Are we roasting Alabama?
In 2008,
No.
probably.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
What
it
the
was
hell
also
are you
10.
Holy
talking about?
shit. 2008 was 10 years ago.
That was
Oh
also
my
Saban's
God.
first year, right?
I don't know.
That was Saban's first year at Bama.
Just go ahead and...
It's okay,
Yo,
Ron. You're wrong.
Wes, who you got?
All right. I want to quote a great poet of our time, okay? Country road, take me home to the place. I want to pick West Virginia. They're better.
And we just got a lawsuit, so we won't be back next week.
I didn't sing the whole thing.
I'm
It
pretty,
was
John
also a
Denver's
quicker
dead,
song.
anyways.
That got dark.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, I gotta go with West Virginia because, like you said, Ryan, I mean, they're scoring more a game, and I think that's the only thing that matters in these type of, like, shootout games or environments.
All right. On to the next one. I've got number 20 BYU at number 11 Washington. Both 3-1. I'm gonna take. See, part of my pick relies, and as I was doing my recap, I saw BYU's running back literally has an